Hello ladies and gentlemen, back to my story. Okay, I'm gonna go 2014, the year 2014 we're into now. Okay, let's see. Started off the year doing jobs with Transfield. I noticed there was a few different crews, a few different guys on the crew doing shutdowns, and there was a lot of waiting involved in the jobs. We're doing the conveyor mounts, welding up ferrules on the conveyor mount, so it was on the floor, crawling under the conveyor belts and over and that kind of stuff, you know. Anyway, and there was a tripper house job as well. This is in Port Hedland. All my jobs have been in Port Hedland. I usually like to work in Karratha, but all my jobs lately have been Port Hedland based. We had another job at the tripper house, which is about up 12 flights of stairs. It's a real tough gig to get up there. So every time you got to go downstairs to get something, you got to climb upstairs again. We are doing handrails right up the top of the tripper house. I was with a few guys there from over east, and Angry Cam from here in Perth, one of my friends. I used to call him Angry Cam because he always seemed to work angrily, you know. One time he was chopping the handrails and he's forcing the grinding, you know, and I thought to myself, man, relax, you know what I'm saying? That's what I was thinking. Wow. And then he'll take off his helmet and he'll throw it on the ground like he's real angry, you know. So I gave him the name So I gave him the name Angry Cam. I never used to call him Angry Cam. It was just a personal thing, entertaining myself. Anyway, then I was going to sell my caravan, right? Because to stay at my mum's place to save money and go away and work. And unfortunately, the year before that, the CBI job never came through, so I'm still stuck in Perth now. John, the Irish guy that I met at FMG, the one that sells steroids and also dabbles in gear, he came over because he was interested in buying my caravan. So he came to pick me up one day, and we went for a drive to Mandurah to my caravan, and we were inside there waiting a while. He had a look at the caravan, checked it out. He had a look inside, he had a look outside at the garage, the annex and the garage. He wasn't too sure about it because he had a four-wheel drive and it wouldn't fit underneath the roof of the garage because he had a roof rack on his Land Cruiser. So he was a bit undecided. But we were waiting for ages. He couldn't make up his mind, you know, and I thought, well, you either want to buy it or not. So anyway, we went for a drink. I'm not drinking alcohol this time, but I went with him to the pub in Pinjarra pub. Had a few brewskis, this and that, shoot the breeze for a while. And anyway, we got to talking about, I had ordered some Danabols, which is steroids, tablets. You take them to do workout for the gym. So I had some left with me. I had about 200 left. I ordered them over the internet. And anyway, he wanted to buy the rest off me, so I said, okay, I'll give you these for 200 bucks, I think. So I was going to give him those Danabols I had left that I ordered over the internet. He came over into Mum's house. He just walked in like he owned the joint, you know. My mum and Noel were in the room, and he walks in. I never even went to the room to introduce him to my parents. He just walks in, oh, hey, how you going? And I was quite surprised, you know. Because I'm not brought up like that. If we go to someone's house, we sit down and we wait for our cue, whether we get up and introduce ourselves or whatever. This dude just walked straight in, walked around the house, looked in the door. My mum and Noel was laying on the bed. They could have been doing anything, but he's in there. Anyway, I thought it was pretty comical, but at the same time I thought pretty rude. So we went to my room, and we were counting the Danabols, the tablets. We put them on the piece of paper. And he had this little cheeky look on his face, like a smirk, you know, and I looked at him and he's like, oh, fucking, I can't count these, you know. Like he's getting confused counting them. I thought, okay, fair enough. Maybe you're just getting confused because there's so much tablets on a piece of paper. So we couldn't work it out. So I counted them for him. the look on his face was a little strange, you know. It was like he's just smirking to himself about something. Anyway, gave him those tablets. Then he left to go home. He kept telling me that his mum put $9,000 into his bank account, blah, blah, blah. And stuff, I'll write that down there later. I don't know why he was telling me this. He was going to go home, see his girlfriend, and his mum put $9,000 in his bank account. I wasn't sure why he's telling me this. I'm like, so what do you want to do? Did you want me to suggest something or what? Why are you telling me about your $9,000 in the bank? But I'll get to that story later. Yeah, right. Anyway, he left, he went home. All good, another day came. Anyway, Craig Thomas came over one day. Me and Baron were at home there by my mum's place. Oop, shit. We were at home by my mum's place. Craig Thomas came over. And I hadn't seen Craig Thomas for a while. He lived down the road here in Bentley. And he's just... We went outside to the balcony to just chat, shoot the breeze. Then he grabs his chair. He puts his chair in the doorway. So now every time I've got to get up and go into the house, I've got to make him important. I've got to ask him to move his chair, you know, and do something. You know, who puts their chair in the doorway to sit down and talk, man? You know what I'm saying? So that quite annoyed me. And he kept asking the same questions to my brother. So, what does a 2IC do? He said, yeah. What does a supervisor do? You know, this, that, blah, blah, blah. He's fucking pissing me off, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I felt that he was being a bit of an asshole. I felt he was being a sarcastic prick, you know? And I didn't want to say anything because I'm having a bit of a conflict with myself now. Why is he annoying me so much? And I haven't seen him for so long. So I'm at a bit of a conflict with myself. And I'm looking at my brother and I'm like, you know, gets this out of there. He's got a vibe, he's fucking annoying me, you know? I'm ready to bloody slap down, man. Hey, he fucking just made me so mad. Anyway, I wasn't sure why. He was just carrying on for himself like that, you know what I'm saying? He just made me so angry. Anyway, he vibed, whatever. I used to go to his house here 1 or 2 times down the road. I'll get to that later. Anyway, now I'm sitting in my room, right? So if I go to work, I'll come back, I'll have a scape, take my mum's dog for a walk, whatever. Look for another job, go back to work. It's kind of was a routine for a time in my life. Living a dream, bro. I was quite happy with that. Anyway, in my room, I always used to hear people now. I have an escape exam, you know what I'm saying? Now I'll be laying on my bed drawing, doing some artwork. And I'll hear someone say, hey, look how fast he does it. Or look how straight the line is. Look how quick he does it. Look how quick he is. Look how fast. You know, while I'm drawing. So it's all quiet in my room. I'm drawing now and I can hear someone communicating with me. It's like someone's watching me. You know what I'm saying? And they commenting on what I'm doing. All my actions and my drawings and stuff. Anyway, and then now the one night they said, I heard them, they say, how important is it you see Hayley? I'm fucking thinking to myself now. Now I'm not fucking me, I don't hear voices, I'm not stupid, I'm not crazy, I'm not nothing, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck? Where's going on? Because my room's next to a hallway where everybody walks down. So was it someone by my window? Ken used to walk past and tap the window sometimes, but I'm thinking, ow, where the fuck is this coming from, you know what I'm saying? One night they say, how important is it that you see Hayley? And I'm thinking, fuck. I'm quite annoyed now, he said, because Hayley's my personal business. You know what I'm saying? She's already, fucking, I'm already pissed off. I'm not mad or really pissed off, but I'm annoyed because of what's happened before. Her trying to take me to court and not communicating anymore after we organized the date. So now I'm thinking to myself, hey, who's this fucking talking about my personal business, man? So I'm annoyed. So now talking to myself about what happened with me and Haley. I already told you this the year before. So I'm like, fuck, this is me. So I'm like, I'm in my room. Now I'm animatedly talking to myself because I hear these people talking about how important it is to see Haley. So I'm animatedly talking to myself like this. And inside I'm going over the story of what happened with me and Haley, right? Anyway, these people or whoever is communicating with me, I'm basically telling them the story of what happened with me and Haley. I know what happened, I remember what happened. I don't remember sticking my dick there, this and that, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I told him what happened with me and Haley, thinking that this would liberate me if people think that I'm denying being the father, you know, or if I'm trying to lie. Anyway, it was starting to annoy me hearing these people in my room, etc. That's my own private space. I got the door closed, I'm having a skype. Nobody knows what I'm fucking doing. This is my own private space, yeah. And now I'm annoyed because I'm hearing some people from somewhere and I can't figure out where is it from. So now, anyway, carrying on with the year, I got a job with Western Australia Site Services. Some more shutdowns. It was a job, we were carrying wear plates, whole watching, glorified TA's graphics. You know what I'm saying? But me, I'll do the graph, you know what I'm saying? It's just another job, and it's shut down. So we've all got to play our part as a team member. So I'm doing wear plates, carrying wear plates. Now we're carrying them downstairs and all that, you know what I'm saying? We're whole watching. And then another job I went to with PGC. Contracted to him and helping the fitters, contracting to him and helping the fitters. I was working with a couple of Indian guys, and then there was also a guy named Dion, South African guy, white South African guy, Lakal. He was on the shut there with me. Hey, when we got there now when we left for Perth to go up to site there in Newman, now we got to do a DNA test. Now no one told me that we got to do a DNA test there when we get on site. Usually, the girl that calls you up for the shutdown will say to you, okay, you got to do a DNA test there. So we make sure we don't have anything in our system that's not supposed to be in our system. You know what I'm saying? So you got the heads up. You don't want to send nobody to site and then failing DNA tests. So I wasn't sure I was going to pass this test. Anyway, because they caught me off guard. So anyway, this white South African Dion, he starts talking to me about the secret society and the lost society and all this crap. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of made some relative sense to me because of what's going on at home now, in my room, with hearing these voices trying to communicate with me. So he was talking about the secret society and all this mystical kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I done the test, the DNA. The guy never said nothing. I was pretty sure I wasn't going to pass it because they didn't tell me going up to do a DNA test. Now I went back to my room, slept the night, vibed to camp, this, that, blah, blah, blah. 6 o'clock in the morning, they came, knocked on my door. Hey, babe, Melon, you got a flight out of here. You didn't pass your DNA test. I don't know. That bullshit, mate. I done that thing yesterday and nobody said nothing. He said I passed. No, what, this, that day. So he said, okay, no worries, I'm just going to make a phone call. He made a phone call. Then it was all good. I stayed on for the shutdown. Then about 4 days later, the Friday, I got a random test to do a DNA test. It was all clear, whatever. So I managed to do that shot, got my money and all that. But the way they done it, I thought it was a bit unfair. They try to tell me I failed the thing, you know what I'm saying? If I failed the thing, the guy doing the test would have told me straight away, you failed now. You know what I'm saying? Now, you got a vital site. They're not going to leave it for a day, leave it up in the air and all this, and then in the morning come and knock on your door and tell you got a vial. They would have told you that same time you done the test, you failed or you passed. Anyway, I'll come back later to why these stories are relevant, why I'm telling you this. Okay. Now I saw Craig a few times this year. Let's see, Craig. Okay, I saw a couple of friends this year. I'm going to go by names first. I'll tell you about the whole year with them. I'll tell you about Craig, what happened with me and Craig this whole year. Then I'll tell you about someone else and what happened this whole year with me and him. Okay. One time I saw Craig. I used to go see him there to pick up some gear. I felt like a dabble there in next to Garrett Road Bridge by Ascot. One time, and he turned and he looked at me. Now I had escaped before this, so I'm feeling a bit strung out, a little weary. It's like having alcohol and now you've got a hangover. You're feeling a little jittery, not, you know, a little bit fucking whatever. Anyway, so he turns to me and he says, "Oh, the gooky Wook thing, sir." You know, really out of character. Like, he turned to me and I saw his lips moving. No, he said, he turned to me. I call it gooky Wook. When people talk to you, but they're looking away. I call it gooky Wook. That's the name I made up for it. So Craig turned to me one day and he said, "Oh, that Facebook thing, isn't it?" And I saw him say it, but just after he said that, he carried on talking about something else. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was a bit strange, but I never said nothing. I never said nothing about it. One time I went to meet him at Caltech's garage there on Great Eastern Highway, next to the Ascot Keys, I think. And I was waiting for him there, one car parking space. Now I saw him come around the building where you put air in your tires. He drove up in his car, a green Cherokee, and he shook his head like this. And I saw him, and I waited. So now I thought he's saying to me the deal's off. So I thought, okay. So I figured if the deal's off, he's going to drive away and we'll go somewhere else to make the deal. No, he parked the car, jumped out, carried on as normal. So I jumped out of the car. I went to meet Craig there next to the place where you put air in your tires. And everything was cool. But he shook his head. I never asked him. I never elaborated on why he shook your head and this and that. That's another thing that happened with Craig. And then at Brownie Towers one time he was talking about, I asked him what car him or his missus drives. And he said something about a Tucson. Yeah, but it was the way he said it, you know. Anyway, another time I was picking up off him. Caltech server right up the road here in Bentley, Manning Road. Now I got the cash in my hand, right? And I give him $300 for a half. And now he drives into the servo, drives there where you put air in the tires again by this Caltech server now. And he says to me, "Hey, look up, what's that? Cameras, you know." And I got the money in my hand, I'm counting and I'm thinking, how? Now I'm giving you the march a year for the SCAFE or whatever, now you're fucking driving underneath the cameras there. Now you're telling me to watch out, there's fucking cameras there, you know? Narin shit, you know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking to myself, why the fuck you driving up here now? You know what I'm saying, where there's cameras? If you want to make a deal for drugs or whatever, why are we going to these places where there's cameras? We're going to the Caltex this side, yeah. We're going to the car wash that side. We're coming to the Caltex service station, yeah. How come you always taking me where there's cameras? I never said this to him. Inside I'm thinking that, because I'm thinking, okay, you telling me this shit, so you comfortable with cameras around. Me, I'm not doing nothing wrong. I'm getting a SCAFE for you, that's it. You dealing the shit? But it annoyed me after a while. When I thought about it, I thought, why are we always going where there's cameras? Where people can see you. But I never said nothing to him. He's the man. He's the one doing it, getting up to shit. Anyway. Another time, just up the road, yeah. There was he came to meet me there by the car park. And there's a whole bunch of Indian guys there talking now. Now they're saying stuff, I can hear them talking, they're saying stuff like, we know him, we know Craig, this and that, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, fucking what these guys talking about? Craig that I'm going to meet now to pick up some gear or what? What are they talking about? Now I'm paranoid because these guys are talking loud enough for me to hear. And they're talking that, about stuff and people that are relative to me and my life and my business. So it got me a little paranoid. Anyway, Craig picked me up. We went for a drive around here somewhere. And there was a girl running across the road in some peach shorts. And he said to me, "Who's that? Who's that?" And I'm like, I don't know. It says some cherry running across the road. I don't know. Not interested, you know what I'm saying? Anyway. Another time we went for a drive. Another time, sometime this year, 2014. And I wanted to tell him about these people that I can hear in my room talking to me. Because every time I'm sitting in my room, I can hear these people, I can hear these voices saying something, blah, 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 this and that, look how fast it does, I started hearing them in my car, but I'll get to that too. Now, I went for a drive down to the river to tell Craig about this, because I didn't want Craig to get caught selling drugs. So now I was worried about him. But he never seemed to be worried. So I went down to the river. I'm trying to tell him, hey, see, I'm hearing these people fucking talk to me, this, that, there. I don't want you to come to the towers. Maybe we should go somewhere else if we want to meet up and double or whatever. But there was a blue BMW by the river. Then he says to me, who's that? And I'm like, hey, I don't know. I wasn't interested in who's around, you know. I had some things going on in my head now. I'm trying to tell him. Anyway, I never really got to tell him. He said to me, hey, just don't smoke too much or do too much of it. You know what I'm saying? No worries. Anyway, one day I was in my room and I had someone say, call Craig, why don't you call Craig? I said, call Craig. And I think to myself, fuck, because that's what I was going to do. I was going to call Craig one time. And then fucking finally, after I'm fucking annoyed with these fucking, with these, hey. So I'm on my bed, finally I call Craig and then he says something to me like, 20 minutes, he said, I thought you were going to sleep. And I felt like he's watching me, you know what I'm saying? Like he said, he thought I'm going to fall asleep. Like, and I think it was about 20 minutes before I called him. So like, what he said was relative to my situation in my room, you know what I'm saying? It was like he watched me and he was waiting, and it's been about 20 minutes before I called him. And what he said was relative to that. But now I can't say nothing to no one because, you know what I'm saying, it's a bit all mysterious.